Much of the current development of both philosophical practice and psychotherapy teases out the theoretical foundations of psychotherapy, on the one hand, and the practical, therapeutic applications of philosophy, on the other. This debate has led to different conceptualizations of both disciplines, where one of the proposals, espoused here, is that all of psychotherapy might be seen as inherently philosophical in nature, and that philosophical practice, especially philotherapy as its counseling offshoot, is in fact an integrative discipline bringing together a number of bioethical dimensions of both philosophy and psychotherapy. The series of videos explores several aspects through which the concept of psychic well-being, on the one hand, and the traditional philosophical concept of the good life, on the other, reflect two sides of the same normative structure of normalcy, or wellness, that reverberate through the drama of individual development and culture alike. Discussing what is fundamentally a blueprint to therapeutic philosophy, or philotherapy as its practical application, requires both mentioning some of the key paradigms in philosophical practice and addressing some broader societal tendencies that play pivotal roles in the development of philotherapy. First, in my vision, philotherapy is not merely philosophical practice, or the practical application of philosophy. It is based on philosophical practice, but goes further, and integrates the therapeutic and theoretical views of psychology insofar as it is seen as an interpretative science, or skill. Secondly, a point I make in this series of videos is that philotherapy is the proper disciplinary and methodological context within which to address one of the main bioethical challenges in the field of psychiatry and psychotherapy of our times, the normative question of narcissism both as a personality organization and as a cultural tendency. The various methodologies used in philosophical practice are taken over and implemented in integrative philotherapy, including the Socratic method, the various methodologies based on the Stoic and other ancient traditions, and the decision-making technologies such as Lou Maranoff's peace method. The way we play with our own and the ideas of others and develop argumentation in philosophy requires a distance towards ourselves that allows us to assume that we might be wrong about everything we believe in. Without such a reservation and willingness to question one's convictions, one cannot engage in philosophy in earnest. However, the narcissistic structure of modern society that militates against self-doubt and promotes a sense of entitlement and ambition stifles the philosophical impulse and causes rampant psychological complaints associated with motivation and with a lack of meaning. Philotherapy thus addresses cultural and social norms as they reflect on individual and group well-being, in much the same way as the very beginnings of philosophy in the ancient philosophical schools addressed the normative assumptions of what it is to lead a good life and what social and personal circumstances contribute to it or detract from it. The fate of philotherapy, thus, like the fate of any interpretative and helping discipline, depends on the sort of individual we encounter in our practice. In turn, the prevalent types of individuals, on the couch, in philotherapy are largely determined by the normative structure of modern society. This is manifested in different priorities in the therapeutic discourse, including the insistence on various diagnoses in the medicalized language of psychotherapy. An emphasis on personality disorders over the recent years is a good example of how this focus on the various diagnoses depending on the changing nature of society works.